Howdy, and welcome to Volume 13 of the Songwriter Sessions with Wilson Valley Mercantile. Today we're going to visit with Guthrie Moss. Thank y'all for joining us, and enjoy the talk. Guthrie, thank you for joining me today here on the Songwriter Sessions for Wilson Valley Mercantile. This is in anticipation of our next roundup, which will be December the 4th. Sadly today, Ely won't be joining us. He's gone home for the holidays. Certainly glad to have you here. Looking forward to having you in the tasting room, and welcome.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. I'm glad Ely reached out to me, man. It should be fun.
Well, we try and have a good time. I want to start off asking, you're sitting in Junction, Texas right now with a pretty awesome background for, which is, you told me your house a few minutes ago. That's pretty awesome,
Yeah.
man. Well, tell me how does being from Junction influence your music, and really, truly give us a breakdown on what led you to be a songwriter.
Well, first question, being in Junction, it's changed a lot since I was a kid, but I grew up in a very, I want to say traditional, I feel like that's the word, family. We've been here for about 3 generations when I was born, but my family's originally from Llano, so we've been in the area for a long time. I'm a 10th generation Texan. I grew up on the river, South Llano River. Always enjoyed, working with animals and all the stuff my grandpa told me I would hate. I ended up liking. I love working, stuff like that. And I guess it's really the scenery here that kind of inspired me, for the most part, musically. And the fact my mom was probably my biggest inspiration with music. I grew up with 2 jukeboxes in my living room. She's a country music fanatic, not just country music, but, a little bit of everything. I wasn't even into music when I was really little, but when my parents would have people over, that jukebox would be super loud into the early hours in the morning. And I guess I just picked up on it bit by bit until I finally just decided I wanted to, pick it up and play music. So I think that answers both your questions a little bit there.
Yeah, well, and Ely did mention to me to ask, will you be doing any songs in Czech at the
Oh,
roundup? And is there a Czech connection? I think with your grandfather that you mentioned.
yes, both my grandparents on my
Okay.
mom's side. They're from the Smithville Kovar area, east of Austin. We have
Hmm.
a family farm there with over 100 years of agricultural service by the same family. So it's a pretty deep-rooted tradition.
I
And
understand.
I guess since he asked me to, I will. I'll put it on my set list.
Okay. Well, that's something he'd mentioned that was kind of unique. And one thing, neither here nor there really, but so we brew Czech style beer. My family is not Czech, but we've been around Czech folks most of my life. And anyways, that's I don't know. There's a huge Czech population in East Bell County, so there's some connection there.
Czech
Anyways,
beer is good.
was excited whenever Ely mentioned that to me, so I had to bring it up and ask about it. So
Yeah.
looking forward to hearing about that. So, well, speaking of songwriting, what what do you find? Do you find that a jingle or a song comes in your head musically first, or I mean, do you have some words and the music comes later? Tell us what's your approach to writing.
I've had both experiences. I think usually for me, it's when a lot of people for them, it's when they're, by themselves and they're just, focused on doing something. They'll get, a lyric or two in their head and they'll start playing around with it. I seem to find most of my lyrics when I'm around people, like I'm at a party or something, or, around a big crowd of people, because I feel like the best songs come from putting the listener in the shoes of yourself and what you're seeing, at that moment in time. And that's usually where I get most of my lyrics from. But it goes either way. I really don't have an approach to it. I mean, sometimes I'll be driving in the car, think of something, or I'll be messing around, guitar on the couch, and, find a cool lick or something. I'll keep playing around with it till it finally comes together.
Yeah. Well, what any new songs that you'll be trying out coming up next Thursday, or what's your look?
Yes, I do have a new song that I've been working on a little bit. It's about playing cowboys and Indians when I was a kid. That was pretty popular here and with my family and the kids in the neighborhood I grew up in. Like plucking a feather from a chicken and putting it in your hair and going around town running through the streets and finding sticks that looked like pistols. That was I did a lot of that as a kid, and I thought it was a pretty cool concept for a song. So I'm going to try that one out. I don't think I've played it anywhere else.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely look forward to hearing that. So, one question that we'll ask sometimes in these interviews is, why do you write songs? What's your motivation out there?
Well, one reason is I really don't want to get a real job.
Hey, I've had more than one person come on one of these interviews and say something about a real job. Songwriting is not an ordinary job, but I mean, living the lifestyle where you're traveling and singing music and writing your own songs is a real job. It's
Okay,
just not a normal real job.
I can see that, but I don't know. I feel like if I didn't, and I could not write songs and be fine, but if I didn't have music in my life in some sort of fashion, like I couldn't play guitar or you know even press some keys on a piano, it'd just be a lot less fun for me. And I think I do it because I enjoy doing it. I enjoy making a little money here and there, and I really enjoy being on stage. And especially if it's at a good dance or something, everybody's on the dance floor. Those are the kind of moments I look for.
Yeah.
My mom was because, yeah,
So ultimately, from the songwriting perspective, do you find that when you're telling a story, you're in a round and you're telling a story, does the meaning of a song change for one audience versus another audience, or a different setting, or are the songs always the same thing to you?
I think the songs are always the same thing to me, but you always got to feel out your crowd, you know. I kind of make my set list up on the spot. I don't think I've written a set list in years because I like to look at the crowd first and kind of see who I'm dealing with, and then I'll go from there. But for the most part, the songs mean the same for me in that circumstance. Yeah, they do.
Okay. Then same thing, depending upon where you are versus, if you're in
Yes.
Junction or you're in Central Texas, or does that influence the sound of what you're going to perform, and even what that on the fly set list looks like?
Well, I try to stay true to myself. Like all my original songs, I'll keep the same tone I usually do. But one thing I like to do, I don't know if Ely told you this. I like to play a lot of covers of songs that people might have not heard before from other smaller songwriters,
Okay.
especially these roundup deals. You know, when I've gone to, I've done multiple covers. Sometimes it's frowned upon, but I feel like in the way I'm doing it, it's not as bad. But I will try to pick different songs, different covers, depending on the crowd. If I think this crowd would like this song that maybe they haven't heard before or something like that, that's
Sure.
usually
Well,
what I'll
I
do.
I don't know if that kind of thing's frowned upon or not, but I mean, I like it, especially. I mean, for
Yeah.
example, there's a gentleman that plays Iron Tasting Room occasionally and that will cover a couple of Ely's songs. I like to hear his take on the songs. It's nice to hear somebody else's version of it. And so, anyways, I don't see that as being a bad thing at all. And then and just as another example, there's a song that was co-written by two guys that play here occasionally, and they both got their own version of the song, and I like hearing them both. I kind of forget because there's one of the gentlemen, they've actually got the song out on Spotify, so I hear his version pretty regular. He's actually done a still session of it too, and the other one, only time I hear his version of it is when he's playing in the tasting room. So I just, oh yeah, I remember that. This is fun. This is different.
You know, that's nothing new. I mean, just song off top of my head. City of New Orleans, Steve Goodman wrote it, and he has his own cult following for his version. Then there's the Arlo Guthrie version that has its own cult
Uh-huh.
following. Then there's the Willie version. I mean, it's been probably since the 20s when A.P. Carter went and rounded up all them songs in the Smoky Mountains. He didn't write any of them, and then everybody else throughout history has either sampled the tune from it or did their own version. Country music's really cool like that, and I think some songwriters don't understand that covers are what kind of keep music fresh and alive in some sort of way, and sampling different things from different songs. Not everything has to be completely
Brand new.
unique and brand new.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good to
Yeah.
stick to the classics.
Absolutely. Well, we've kind of ran through the high notes on all the questions. Last one I want to wrap up with here is what's your next big goal in your songwriting? I mean, is that a new album? Is that a somewhere specific you want to play, or finishing a song? What's the next thing on Guthrie Moss's agenda to get done?
I would like to finally go into a recording studio and get some of my best songs out and release something, because right now it's the only things I have released are recordings I've done myself, and they're real hard to find for most people. And I don't have anything that I can say I made this and it's out and everybody can go listen to it and find it. I think that's my next step, and I'm dabbling with the idea of getting a little band together. I've been a solo act for 4.5 years now, and I'm
Okay.
kind of ready to take that next step somewhere.
Okay. Well, I like that. I think that's a great idea to do that kind of thing. Actually, that's not, I have one more question to end with. What's something that you would tell the aspiring guy that's not done this but been thinking about living the songwriter lifestyle and starting to write songs and play them for folks? What's the piece of advice that you'd give folks?
This might sound really bad. You gotta what I've learned, and I know people have it a lot worse than I did. I got pretty lucky, but you're gonna have to kiss a lot of ass to get a next step and a next step. And it sounds like a joke, but it's not. That if I wouldn't have tagged along someplace with some dude I really didn't like, or did this or that, or played a gig I didn't like, just because I know the guy there can get me to a higher place, I wouldn't be in the position I am right now. And I'd say just try to smile as much as you can. Don't look like you're not enjoying it, even if you think it sucks. I sometimes still have a problem with that. Don't worry about mistakes, and only continue to do it if you really like it.
I think that sounds like excellent advice all the way around. So, well, thank you very much for joining me today for this interview, and we look forward to seeing you on December 4th.
Look forward to it as well.